This is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video, we will have our discussion on the upcoming transit of planet Saturn in the Aquarius sign from a different point of view. So guys, if I were to say that when it comes down to the transit of such an important planet, which holds this key to completely change the course of our life, so there are different charts which becomes very important. To begin with, definitely you must have already watched this transit from your ascendant, because whatsoever concrete changes happens in our life, that always takes place from our lagna. After that, moon becomes very important. Studying this transit of Saturn from your moon sign will unfold whatsoever destiny has in store for you. And also we monitor any of the psychological turmoil, concerns of Dahiya or Sade Sati from the moon sign as well. After that guys, I would say that studying the transit of Saturn from the D10 chart, the Samsa chart also becomes very important, because somehow D10 chart is an exclusive chart of our profession, of our karma, and Saturn is the significator of actions of our professional endeavors. So I have already uploaded a video on this transit of Saturn from the point of view of your D10 chart, and now afterwards one more important chart is your Arudha Lagna chart, because guys, Arudha Lagna just tells about your perceived reality or your public image. Now imagine all those people in whose case, like whether you are holding any of the public seat, you are a politician, you are an actor, you are a self-employed businessman, where your business is very much dependent on your brand image in the market. So over there guys, I would say that a lot many times people say that when it comes to the Arudha Lagna, monitoring and observing the transit of Jupiter becomes important over there. But trust me, on my findings or my observation, I would say that Saturn, which is the chief significator of punishment as well. So studying the transit of Saturn from your Arudha Lagna becomes more important. Guys, I still remember there was this podcast I was listening to. So there is one of the most wanted criminal of India, which has been now listed in the Interpol list of the most wanted and fugitive criminal as well. So in the podcast, one of the head of the investigation team who was working on this operation to nab him before he flee country, so even he mentioned over there, our surveillance, our tracking was so up to the mark. So many times we were so close to catching him, and at the time when we raided the place, we even found the teacup with the steam coming out of it. So that means he just escaped few minutes before that. So that in itself tells about that unless and until Saturn is not permitting you, you will not be even put behind the bars. Because when we talk about which planet has got a control over our life, our longevity, Saturn is responsible for that. Which planet is responsible for any of the imprisonment or punishment from the law? So Saturn is also responsible for that as well. So if you are in that public domain, or let's say for example you're already going through lawsuit related concerns, your ongoing dashas are in any case making you vulnerable, then monitoring this transit of Saturn from your Arudha Lagna becomes also very important. So guys, before we will straight away dive into the understanding the results of Saturn's transit from your different Arudha Lagna, for all of those audience who have not much idea about the Arudha Lagna, so I will try to explain it to you over here in a very layman language. So guys, like the way I mentioned this thing at the beginning of this video, that Arudha Lagna can be seen as the mirror image of your personality. So all what you have to do is, as a part of the calculation, that wheresoever your ascendant lord is placed in your chart, you have to go same number of houses from that house. So let's take up my own chart as well to understand this concept. Although I'm very much sure that there are those apps where you can easily find this chart as well, but for all those people who are curious about the calculation part, so now guys, as you can see over here in the screen, it's my own ascendant chart. So as you can see that I'm a Aries Lagna person, and guys, in all those cases where people have 3 or 4 planets being placed in one house, so it becomes very easy. Like all those charts which are calculated from the Lagna, like studying your moon chart, Karakamsa chart, Arudha Lagan, Upapada Lagan, it becomes very easy because 4 planets are going to be shifting places, and whichsoever house they are be falling in, you will definitely get an idea that which house is getting or which area of the life is getting accentuated. So guys, as you can see over here that in my case, my ascendant lord is the planet Mars. It has gone to the 8th house. So all what we have to do is that if we have to make the Arudha Lagna of my chart, so we have to go 8 places from the 8th house. So if you will do that, you will reach the 3rd house. Over there you can find the Gemini sign, so that means my Arudha Lagna is Gemini. Now guys, one thing which I want to clear over here, that I do not need any proof to check the authenticity of the Arudha Lagna. Like trust me, if I'm very much sure that you must be knowing about astrology. So if you see this chart, so seeing the prominence of Mars and Saturn in the 8th house, so you know that I am professionally following and doing astrology. But when it comes down to all those places where I talk to people, where I have spent some time, so if you will look at this Arudha Lagna chart, which I have now calculated, as you can see in your screen, so my public image very strongly resonate more with this chart, because guys, as you can see over here, I have Gemini Lagna in the Arudha. Everywhere people actually relate me as a comedian. He's always joking around, making fun, sometimes not very serious as well. And if you will see the planetary concentration in the 9th house, and you would not believe, I do not know what is that about my personality that people always take that oh, you must be very religious. I'm very much sure that you must be regular with your prayers, without me saying anything to anyone. And all those people who do not even know that after my work, whatsoever I do as a part of astrology, my religious and spiritual practices. So as you can see that this much prominence going in the 9th house just tells about that. So you can fairly see that more than my Lagna, my public image resonate more with my Arudha Lagna. Now guys, like the way I mentioned this thing, that when it comes down to the calculation aspect, so over there, if you want to manually calculate your Arudha Lagna, so the confusion only comes if you will find a contradiction between the doctrines of the Gemini Rishi and the Parashara. So over there, because Gemini says that you do not have to make any amendments in this principle, that wheresoever your ascendant lord has gone in the chart, you have to count the same number of places, and that sign will become your Arudha Lagna. Now the difficulty comes when you have your ascendant lord placed in the 1st house only, or your ascendant lord has gone to the 7th house. So these are certain cases where the Parashara Rishi or in the Bhrat Hora Shastra, it has been mentioned over there that Arudha Lagna can never be the 1st house or the 7th house. So as you can see in the reference chart only, I will give you some examples. So let's take up this case. So now this person who has got a Gemini Lagna, so Mercury is placed right over there in the 1st house. So as per the Bhrat Hora Shastra doctrines, it says that you cannot have this as your Arudha Lagna because it is the 1st house. So that means 10th house from it is going to be your Arudha Lagna. Exception number 2. Now as you can see that ascendant lord Mercury in this chart has gone to the 4th house. Now that means you have to count 4 places ahead of it, then you will reach the 7th house. Now Bhrat Hora Shastra says that 1st house and 7th house can never be the Arudha Lagna. So that means from the 7th house you have to go 10 places ahead. So that will make you reach 4th house, that will be counted as the Arudha Lagna. Exception number 3, that if you will find that the ascendant lord is placed in the 7th house, so that means if you will go 7 places from there, you will reach the 1st house. That cannot be your Arudha Lagna. So from over there you have to count 10 places, and then you will reach the 10th house where Pisces sign is there. So that will be considered as your Arudha Lagna. And the exception number 4 is that guys, if you will find that ascendant lord Mercury has gone to the 10th house, So that means you have to count 10 places ahead of it. That will make you reach the 7th house. Now, as per the Brihat Hora Shastra, 7th house cannot be your Arudha Lagna. So that means from over here as well, you will again count 10 places and you will reach the 4th house. So that will be considered as your Arudha Lagna. So guys, these are the exceptions which have been mentioned in the Brihat Hora Shastra. But I have followed the book of K.N. Rao sir and all the Gemini text. Over there, they have not mentioned these kind of exceptions. But definitely guys, if you will get into the Gemini doctrines, so over there you might find like Arudha for all the houses as well, like for the 2nd house, which will be known as the Dhanpada, for the 3rd house Vikram Pada, for the 4th house it will be known as the Sukh Pada. So the only concern over here is that I would say that rely more on some trusted authentic software if you are falling in these exception categories, and you have to do a self introspection as well, like the way I fairly relate with my Arudha Lagna. If I will go out and ask anyone to define my personality traits based on my Lagan chart and my Arudha chart, I am very much sure that everyone is going to give me the description of my Arudha chart. So you have to make this calculation by your own. And now we will move to the next section of understanding the results of this transit of Saturn in the Aquarius sign on its Mool Trikona sign on January 17th and its results in different houses in your Arudha chart. So guys, to start with, see, when it comes down to studying Saturn's transit in the 1st house of your Arudha Lagna. So guys, honestly speaking, this is going to be time when all of your actions and your deeds are going to be judged in the community, in the society. Like the way I have already mentioned this thing, that the basic doctrines say this thing, that the transit of Saturn in the 1st house, 4th house, 8th house and 10th house of the Arudha Lagna chart is not considered as auspicious. But over here as well guys, this is the transit of Saturn in its own Mool Trikona sign. So a lot will be dependent on the kind of yogas you have in your chart, what kind of dashas are operational in your life, and which aspect of life you are in. Like for example, Saturn holds a very strong command or grip over the masses. So if you are in that domain, that you are doing your job with complete integrity and you are in that position of influencing the masses on a very big level, then I would say that this will definitely prove to be a very beneficial time for you, where all of your actions are going to be in the scrutiny of the society or the community. But again guys, like the way we say this thing, that whenever Saturn is transiting from your 1st house of the Arudha Lagna, you have to very strongly monitor your public image. Like if you will remain very casual, that oh, I don't care what people are talking about me, or even if at office there is some gossip happening around you, so things can go out of the hand. So it is much advisable that if Saturn is transiting from the 1st house of your Arudha Lagna, take a strong account and control over your public image, how your image is getting being talked about in the public. And let's say for example, for all those people who are connected with politics, any of the top management leadership role, and in your ongoing dasha and yoga in your chart is very supportive, then this can be a very good time for you to get some position and power. Now guys, let's say for example, in your Arudha Lagna, Saturn is transiting your 2nd house. So definitely guys, when we talk about the 2nd house transit of the Saturn, so over here, how much accountable, responsible you are towards your family, towards your tradition, towards your goals, or even in the matters of finances as well, that is going to be in the eyes of the public. It will be in the scrutiny of the world for sure. Now guys, the good aspect of this is that, let's say for example, you have shown your mettle, you have shown your prowess in any of these positions where you can be be trusted for any big responsibility, and specifically where big major chunk or transaction of finances is involved. So over there, based on your reputation, you might be considered for some good role, some good position. And let's say, for example, guys, if in your case you have done some misappropriation or management of the funds, of the finances, so this could be a time of punishment as well. Suddenly some of the misdeeds or some sort of secretive accounts of yours getting exposed, getting revealed, and you are getting punished for that. So all of those possibilities can be foreseen. But one thing is for sure, that your accountability, your responsibility, your attitude towards your family, are you a good provider or not, that is going to be judged in the society, in the community. Again guys, here we are talking about from the Arudha perspective. So that means it has nothing to do with what you are doing or what you are. It is about looking at it from the eyes of the world. Moving ahead guys, now let's say for example, if Saturn is transiting the third house of your Arudha Lagna. So generally guys, this is a time where you could be trusted or you could be approached for some important portfolio if you have performed something good, or you are showcasing that potential that people can trust on you, on your capabilities, on your competency. So that is all guys what I can say, because when we talk about the third house, malefic planets generally do good over there. And again guys, because it is a planet of punishment as well, and when we are looking at or studying Saturn's transit from the Arudha Lagna perspective, Saturn is the chief significator of punishment, of grief. So again, it all comes down to the way you manage your duties, your responsibilities, how accountable you are towards the duties and responsibilities which are assigned to you, how good you are with keeping your word towards your friends, towards your siblings, towards your colleagues. So that all is going to be judged in the eyes of the public. So I would say that if Saturn is transiting from the third house of your Arudha Lagna, so if you are in any sort of partnership business or whatsoever you promise to your friends or to your colleagues, try to keep up to your word. That is one thing which I want to say. And also guys, along with that, like all the promises, all the initiatives, important is that take it to the end. Like the way the typical trait of the Aries people is that they are very good starters, but they are never good finisher. So do not be like that. When Saturn is transiting from your third house of the Arudha Lagna, so whatsoever responsibilities you undertake or whatsoever task you initiate, jump into those tasks only which you think that you can successfully execute it with complete accountability and responsibility. And definitely guys, the way you treat your friends, your siblings, all of that is going to be in the eyes of the public scrutiny. Moving ahead guys, now when we talk about Saturn transiting to the fourth house of your Arudha Lagna, so guys, this is not considered as a very good transit, specifically the way it has been written in our scriptures. Again, the only concern over here is that guys, it has nothing to do with your Lagna. So that means nothing is actually happening in your life. Be assured, don't get scared. It is not taking place from your moon, so you're not going to get stressed. So be assured. So the thing is, it is all in the eyes of the public. So again, because fourth house is also a very important house which is connected with royal favors, which is connected with the public domain as well. So if you are in any of the political capacity, political seat, political aspiration, you are connected with mass media, so the way you keep up your word, your integrity, your public image, your family life, your domestic life, all of that is going to be under the public scrutiny during this time. Because guys, we keep on coming across those cases where you know, the guy who is a very strong contender for any political seat, now this guy is capable enough, he's very competent, he's very eligible for that post as well, but suddenly at the last moment, some of his family divorce or his secretive affair get released in the media and things go out of the hand. So the way you are managing your family life, and your integrity within the public is going to be judged when Saturn is transiting from the 4th house of your Arudha Lagna. Moving ahead, guys, now when we talk about Saturn transiting from your 5th house of the Arudha Lagna. So guys, when we talk about the role of Saturn specifically in the 5th house, so over here the decision taken by you, like the way you have speculated in the past while undertaking any important decision is going to be in the eyes of the public when Saturn is transiting from the 5th house of your Arudha Lagna. Because guys, when we talk about the religious and spiritual austerity, both the trine houses play a very pivotal role over there. Like rather, it has been even mentioned that in the Arudha chart, Arudha Lagna, benefic planets, well placed planets in the trine give rise to the highest form of the Raj Yoga, like the way I was explaining my own chart as well. In my case, my 9th house is so much crowded with the benefic planetary presence in the Arudha Lagna, and you would not believe, like even when I was in my college, I'm waiting for my bus, suddenly this guy came to me and he started telling his ordeal, his family problems, and I was like, I'm such a young guy and I'm sir, everything will be fine. Why don't you start doing the Mahamrityunjaya mantra? Why don't you start visiting Lord Shiva's temple? And he's like, okay, I don't know about the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. I'm taking a page from my college notebook and I'm writing the mantra and giving it to people. So this is the kind of power which the trine houses of the Arudha Lagna holds. But again, guys, here we are talking about a planet which is strongly judgmental, which can actually malign someone's public image or your mind as well. So I would say, guys, that 5th house has to do with your speculative nature. So the way you have acted in any of the risky situations or times, or the way you have, like this could be the way you manage your love, romantic affairs, the way you treat your children. So all the matters of the 5th house when Saturn is transiting from the 5th house of Arudha Lagna is going to be in the eyes of public. So if any of the 5th house related matters is right now a chief central concern of yours, like this could be that you took a student loan and you are not very serious towards your academics, towards your education, or in certain cases where your family is like working very hard just to put you in a good college, in a good school, but you are not responsible, accountable for that, then this could actually create problem for you, where the problem is not going to be created by you or in your surrounding circumstances. It's like this is how people will start judging you or treating you. So that is how we can see this transit of Saturn in the 5th house of your Arudha Lagna. Now guys, when we talk about the 6th house, so generally 6th house transit of Saturn from the Arudha Lagna is considered as very good. So I would say that during this time, if you have worked hard in any capacity, whether you are a self-employed person, you are in a job, any of the political aspiration, so Saturn will actually give you the right set of support which you deserve. But again, guys, when we talk about the 6th house, so it has got a lot of hardship, lot of like lawsuit related concerns as well. But one thing is for sure, that you will come out, you will be perceived as someone who's very competent, someone who's very strong, someone who can be trusted. So this is how, because I have only good things to say, Saturn's transit from the 6th house of the Arudha Lagna is considered as very good. Now guys, moving ahead, now let's say for example, if you will find Saturn to be transiting from the 7th house of your Arudha Lagna. So guys, one thing is for sure, that for all those people who are in business or any of the political aspiration, this is a very, very important judgment day for you. I would say that your public image, your conduct in the world, your fairness in the business dealings, your treatment and attitude towards your partner is going to be very strongly judged, and basis the treatment done by you, acts or deeds done by you, people's behavior can also suddenly change regarding that area or that aspect of your life as well. And guys, I generally say this thing, that if you actually want to build your brand on public trust or on those principles of integrity, so this could be a very good time for you. So again, guys, this is a very kind of a sharp transit for you, where results are going to be very strong. Either the gifts are gonna come or the punishment is gonna come in the way of the way your brand, your services are going to be judged by the people in your community. Now guys, when we talk about Saturn's transit from the 8th house of the Arudha Lagna. Now guys, honestly speaking, it has not been written very positive about this in our scriptures, in the Gemini doctrines. But all what I can say is that because I am a Gemini Arudha Lagna, Saturn has been transiting in my 8th house of Arudha Lagna, and I have seen like the way I have, like when I do consultation, the kind of participation which I get on the community, on my comment sections, and even at my work front as well. It's just like that, guys. I'm utilizing the energy of the 8th house in a very positive way because I'm wholeheartedly invested in research, in astrology, in all these mystic sciences. So again, it all comes down to the way you are utilizing the energy of this transit. Now let's say, for example, if in your case you are already engaged in clandestine, secretive activities, very taboo desires and actions, fantasies, and in your own chart there is some very afflicted yogas, and you're also going through some sensitive dashas, then this could be a time of, see guys, one thing is that the yoga in your chart got responsible for imprisonment or got responsible for some sort of punishment. But when we talk about public shaming, that generally only happens like getting boycotted by people in your community or judged by people in your community. So that only happen when the same thing is getting validated in the Arudha chart as well, because this is how people are perceiving you. Suddenly someone becomes the apple of everyone's eyes, and suddenly people start disliking someone. So those concerns we see from the Arudha Lagna. So one thing is for sure, guys, in which way you are utilizing the energy of the 8th house. If you are on a negative side of the energy of the 8th house, this transit could be responsible for shaming, for problems. And if you are on a benefic side of this energy of the 8th house, this could be time of some appreciation and support from people and community around you, that you are actually doing some very good job in the fields of spirituality, research, exploration, where people will actually put their trust on your capabilities. Now guys, when we talk about Saturn's transit to the 9th house of your Arudha Lagna chart, so guys, this is generally considered as good because when we talk about the trine houses or Saturn's role over there, so I would say that if you have actually done some good deeds, and specifically if your actions in the community or society are very inspirational, so you will be able to materialize support or amass lot many people to your cause as well. Like guys, when we talk about anything to do with the cause, that generally is seen from the 9th house, which has the capacity to inspire people, or the 11th house, which has a capacity to become a voice of the masses, of large groups. So I would say that if you are doing your job with complete integrity and you're working in the domain of inspiring people on a big scale, so then this entry of Saturn in the 9th house of your Arudha Lagna chart can actually benefit you, specifically in the form of the way world or masses perceive you. Now guys, when we talk about Saturn's transit to the 10th house of your Arudha Lagna chart, so guys, this is the way it has been written in the Gemini scriptures. Over there it has been written that this could be a time of problems, or where you are going to be strongly judged by people around you. Again guys, I want to make it very clear, here we are not talking about your Lagna chart. Problem is not gonna happen actually at your work front, nor we are talking about from the moon sign or from the Dasamsa chart. Here we are talking about the way public perceive your actions. A lot many times what happens is that you're not doing anything wrong, but everyone is turning up against you. So the concern or the lesson or the learning over here is that do your job with complete integrity. Monitor your public image. Like the way I already mentioned this thing, there are certain houses, like I would say all the angular houses like Kendra Bhavas, whether 1st house, 4th house, 7th house, and chiefly 10th house. So if you are very frivolous that I don't care whatsoever people are talking about me behind my back, but no, when Saturn is transiting from your 10th house of the Arudha Lagna chart, monitoring every aspect of your public image, the way it is getting perceived becomes very important. So guys, if you do not have any of the ill yogas in your chart, your actions are filled with righteousness, with integrity, and you are actually eyeing for some big position, and specifically where support of people around you is required, then in those cases, this entry of Saturn in the 10th house of your Arudha Lagna can prove to be very beneficial for you. But again guys, I want to be very fair over here. In majority of the cases, this is a time when people will actually attach lot many expectations from you, lot many responsibilities can suddenly also increase, because people will be pinning lot of hopes on you, and in order to fulfill all of those expectations of people around you, your actions, your public dealing and your public image has to be very immaculate when Saturn is transiting the 10th house of your Arudha Lagna. Now guys, when we talk about Saturn transiting from the 11th house of the Arudha Lagna chart, so guys, I want to be very honest over here. This is considered as good. Like I have already mentioned this thing, that 9th house or 11th house hold this key to inspire people with our actions, to become a voice of the masses. So if you are working in that domain, like whether you are a celebrity, whether you are a political enthusiast, or in whichever way, your job, your expectation is to make your work reach the world, reach the masses, reach the nook and cranny of the world. So then this entry of Saturn in your 11th house of the Arudha Lagna can give you a platform, can give you a pedestal to voice out to the world. So overall guys, I have not seen any negative result in my consulting experience, or whether we talk about the way it has been written in the scriptures. They have only made first house, fourth house, 8th house and 10th house as the vulnerable dark zone. But when we talk about the 11th house transit of Saturn in your Arudha Lagna, this is generally considered as good time when people will trust your capabilities and they will reach out in order to provide support for any of the cause, any of the goal which you are chasing. And lastly guys, 12th house transit of Saturn from the Arudha Lagna has also been written as good only. Like it has been written that lot many overseas opportunity, and specifically again guys, when we talk about astrology or any of the karma alignment, over there it also comes down to whether you're operating in that domain or not. Just because here we are talking about your perceived image, and Saturn, which is the planet of masses, voice of masses. So I would say that if you are already operating in any of the domain of research, exploration, mysticism, or foreign lands, so I would say that in these areas, if you are operating and you are in dire need of support, strength, position, being trusted, so this transit of Saturn in the 12th house of your Arudha Lagna chart will prove to be very favorable for you. So, and guys, one more thing, and please keep your actions filled with lot of integrity. Refrain from any secretive, clandestine acts, because Saturn is going to be judging you, or through Saturn your public image is going to be getting very strongly judged. A lot many times we think that we are very smart, that we are keeping things under the rug, but you do not know that because Saturn is transiting from the 12th house of the Arudha Lagna chart, it might be getting judged by the people as well behind your back. So remain very cautious, very careful. So this is something guys which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For further more updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyavad.